The Netherlands just approved a 36% tax on unrealized financial gains. Yes, this is on top of the crazy income tax rates that they have, up to 50%. And no, this isn't tax on realized gains, this is on unrealized gains. And it's not just for the wealthy, no, this will be for everyone. And more countries could be set to follow. In simple terms, this crazy new plan means the Dutch government is going to tax people on their assets even if they haven't sold or made a profit on them. And when I say a profit here, by that I mean they haven't sold the asset in order to take or realize that profit or gain, meaning they haven't actually made a profit, despite what the government is claiming. The Dutch government has obviously lost their way. They spend over 6 billion euros each year on foreign aid and almost 10 billion euros on asylum-related costs. That's a combined total of over 16 billion euros per year. And yet they keep crying about being in huge debt, running out of funds, or deficit in the budget. Well, it's pretty obvious where to cut. I mean, anybody can figure this one out. This isn't difficult. But no, rather than cutting the 16 billion euros a year, they instead want to tax the citizens more. I think we're seeing a bit of a pattern here starting to repeat throughout Europe. Yet, when I actually did these calculations, I don't expect the tax to bring in much more than 2 billion euros per year. And that is at today's rate based on all the citizens and the wealth that's in the country. But it's pretty obvious what's going to happen, and we'll come to that later. But you've got two options, right? Think about it. You're the government. Do you do a 16 billion euro cut, or do you do a 2 billion euro tax increase? What a difficult decision. This, ladies and gentlemen, is nuts, and it will not only cause many more people to leave the country, but it will also cause even more people to lose faith in the government. But I know what you're thinking. Well, what does this look like, Neil, in terms of finances and numbers? Normally you'll give us figures. So let me do that now. I'll give you a very simple example here. So let's say that you invest 1,000 euros in the stock market this year because you want to create your own little pension pot for when you retire one day. Now, I know you're going to say, Neil, 1,000 euros is not going to do anything. I know, but let's just use this as an example. Nice even numbers. Well, congratulations, because you picked the right stocks or stock. And after 1 year, those stocks doubled to now be worth 2,000 euros. So well done, you are a master stock picker. But here's the kicker. The government steps in and says to you, congratulations on the 1,000 euro gain. Now you owe us 360 euros and it's due now in cash. Yes, and you shout, but I didn't sell anything. I didn't cash out. I didn't even touch it. But the government says, too bad, you owe us. So you're forced to sell some of these shares just to pay the tax bill. And guess what? Everyone else might have to do the same thing at the exact same time. That means that selling pressure could spike, making the stock drop to, say, being worth 800 euros. Now, it's not a typical example, of course, but it's possible. So after tax then, you've only got 440 euros left. In year 2, the stocks rebound to 1,200 euros. And guess what? The government then makes another 144 euros. And you'll say, hold on. I'm losing money here. More forced selling because you've got to pay the tax bill. So the price drops again. You're now down to 756 euros. Year 3 then, the stock crawls back to around 1,000 euros, exactly where it started. And in 3 years, you've absolutely gained nothing. Yet, the government still wants another 36 euros, meaning your total taxes paid were 540 euros, but your total actual gain was 0. This means that 460 euros left your pocket. So you actually lost 54% on an investment that you broke even at. And the only guaranteed winner here then is the government. Thank you for your contribution, they say. Really? They don't even say that. So now you can see why this is so crazy and why I keep saying that many of these politicians do not understand finance and economics, and they need people that do understand it, because this is just so obvious. So this is the direction that the Netherlands is going in, one of Europe's most powerful countries financially. It's disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you're fed up with the mainstream media nonsense and lies that we hear all the time, you'll fit right in here on this channel, because we dig into the real state of the world together, me and you, as geopolitics, economics, and the major shifts shaping your life, including your money and your investments. So if that sounds good to you, hit the subscribe button. It's completely free. It won't cost you a penny, and then you won't miss what's coming next. Also, while you're doing that, please check out the links in the description. I have some free financial trainings for you to watch, as well as a number of free reports to download. These include gold and silver investing guides, stock market investing, building cash flow and businesses, and much, much more. So just go to the description and check those out. They're completely free. None of this will cost you a penny. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're watching here then is a real shift in how countries will tax your future. Because when a country that's positioned itself as stable and capital friendly suddenly starts to shift and then starts taxing paper gains, which is what they are, every single year, it means that everyday people and wealthy investors will have to make big decisions about where to hold their assets going forward. And I know that I wouldn't want to stay in a country that did that to me. No way. In fact, I didn't. Once the taxes got too high where I lived, I simply got up and moved, because I'm not a tree, so I'm not rooted in the ground, and neither are you. Now, I get it's not easy for everyone to up and move and change things around, but pretty much everyone can make some changes that will benefit them in some ways. But let me give you some of the maths if you're in the UK on this. So let's put this into some other real numbers then, so you can see how this plays out. Now let's take a Dutch resident who's a bit older. So let's say they've got about 500,000 euros in their investment portfolio. So they're not ultra wealthy, just someone who saved diligently their entire career. So their entire life, they're at sort of retirement age now. They've got about €500,000. Now remember, they've already paid the taxes on that, first of all. The government hasn't done anything for them to have built that up. You know, maybe they've even inherited some money. They've built up a decent nest egg in a public company or funds or something like that. And let's say they have a strong year. Okay, so this year they make a 12% return, which means that the portfolio increases by €60,000 on paper. Well, under the new system, that €60,000 is going to be taxed at 36%. That's €21,600 out of their pension pot. But then next year, let's say the market doesn't increase by 12%, let's say it drops by 15%. So the portfolio falls to €476,000. So they say, well, the losses offset your future gains, but the $21,600 you paid last year doesn't come back. Over a decade with average 8% annual returns, that €500,000 generates roughly €40,000 in gains per year. At 36%, that's about $14,400 that flows out to the government. So over 10 years, that's $144,000 transferred out of your account to the government. So if you're a typical person now and you're trying to save for your retirement, I mean, it's obvious people are going to get up and they're going to leave. And remember, you've already paid either 37% tax, okay, that's in the Netherlands, or it's 50%, or I think it's 49.5% tax on your income. So for some people, that can be as much as half of the income gone. And then what they'll do is they'll have that 50% remaining, which is in their bank account because 50%'s gone on tax. And then they'll invest that, and then they'll get taxed at 36% on any gain. This is a wicked, wicked system designed to drain every last penny from the people and pass that wealth to the government. It's morally wrong, ladies and gentlemen, my friends. It's morally wrong. But here's what the Dutch government doesn't seem to understand. Wealthy individuals won't pay the tax. They will look at other countries' tax rates, they'll look at the quality of life, and where else they might get treated better. Then they will simply move accordingly. And you just look at what's happened in recent years in the UK. It's got the biggest outflow of wealthy individuals in the world, and this is just a tiny little country. So the Netherlands obviously hasn't learned this lesson. The UK tax base has shrunk as a result, in line with those forecasts I made for you 2 or 3 years ago. Isn't it interesting as well? The forecasts I make for you years and years back, as far back as 2020, and how they come to fruition. It's kind of scary in a way that even some of the more extreme forecasts have come to pass. And you may say, well, Neil, where are they going? Where do you think the Dutch will go? Well, a lot of different places. Some people instantly think it will be the UAE for the low tax jurisdiction, no personal income tax. But I actually think they'd be more likely to go to somewhere like Italy, because it's more familiar to EU residents. It's not quite a big culture shift as the UAE would be. And Italy's really trying to attract a lot of high net worth individuals at the moment that are relocating, because they've got a number of flat rate tax programs. But there's also a number of jurisdictions now competing directly for people with money, and I predict that we're going to see a lot more over the next few years. You're even seeing this in some countries you would never expect before. Now, I've just given you a couple of simple examples there of just an average everyday person, but what if I were to give you an example of, say, 10 wealthy individuals, high net worth individuals who have about 50 million euros each in assets? Well, in strong years, each will pay 1 to 2 million easily in taxes, easily. So that's 10 to 20 million in yearly revenue flowing to the government. Now, if those 10 individuals change residency, guess what goes with them? All of those taxes. But the tax loss is actually secondary to what follows, because high net worth individuals are crucial for the economy. They build businesses, they make investments, they create jobs. And when they relocate, everything relocates with them. They sell their house, they sell their assets. This pushes prices lower, of course. Asset managers lose capital that they were managing for them. Digital businesses change country. Even staff can get fired, or the company will hire new staff in the new country. It's the same net result. And remember, all those staff earned a wage. They paid taxes. They spent money into the local economy. That money went to more staff in other businesses in the local economy, which means more employment scarring. It's a vicious cycle downwards. It's a disaster for the country. Domestic startups lose capital, universities lose capital, private contributions decline, charities lose big backers. So what I'm saying here is a heavy government and smaller entrepreneurial economy isn't good for society. Now, I'm not saying the economy is going to collapse overnight, of course, but it does experience a gradual erosion that compounds over years. Take Argentina, for example. In the early 20th century, Argentina was one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Its GDP per capita was top 10 globally. Yes, top 10. And this one often surprises people, but actually they had huge immigration from Europe. Yes, people from Europe actually emigrated from Europe and immigrated into Argentina for the high living standards. But over decades, similar policies came in, and as a result, they got chronic high inflation, including hyperinflation in sort of 89 to 90, currency controls, capital flight, decline in real wages, IMF bailouts, gradual loss of economic standing. What am I saying? They became poor as a country. So they went from very, very rich, that's where the saying came from, as rich as an Argentinian, and they became very, very poor. So what a surprise that, all these people said, well, it can't be turned around. And then the new president, Javier Milei, came in and started doing these small policies I said small policies. I meant to say new policies such as small government, tight fiscal discipline, deregulation, tax reforms to cut down on 20 different taxes, and bingo, Argentina is turning itself around. What a mystery. No, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't rocket science, and neither are any of my free financial reports and free training webinars below in the description. If you'd like to upgrade your financial knowledge, please check them out. You'll find them below. And as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If this kind of calm, grounded macro analysis is useful to you, please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what comes next. Thanks for watching. Take care. God bless.